Hi everyone, as we are discussing about the concept of enterprise DevOps for AI engineering, now in this video we can discuss about the chapter 5 AWS networking. As we know, this AWS networking is one of the broadest concepts, so we have splitted this concept into three parts. First part, we basically talk about security groups and network ACLs. So second part we are discussing today is VPC, virtual private cloud, and third thing in the upcoming video we can discuss about auto scaling and auto load balancing. So what is VPC now? Let's imagine we have a company. In this company, we have the servers, okay? Let's say server 1, server 2, and server 3. As of now, we can imagine we have three servers. In these servers, we have deployed our software applications. We have stored our databases, which contains a lot of sensitive information about the companies and the employees, right? So companies policies, either employees information like his salary, his personal information, everything, each and every stuff we basically saved in the servers. So I need to ensure somehow I need to provide the security for the servers, right? I need to provide a network environment which is private, which can't be accessed to the internet, right? So here I need to provide only the limited access with the internet. Suppose there is a server where you have the web application. Only for this server I need to connect with the internet. For rest of the databases I don't want to expose to the internet. So this kind of environment we can achieve with the help of VPC. VPC ensures to provide a secure internet connection within your organization or within your environment. So lot of servers are there. There are two servers. So these two servers I need to keep it as a private. Okay. So this servers is our private servers, and this is nothing but our public server, so which is exposed to internet. Okay, as we can see, this XYZ can't access our private servers, right? He can't access our databases, he can't see the employees information and detailed information, right? So he can only access our only the servers which are stored in the public servers. So like your website, he can only access the limited amount of servers and the applications which has deployed in the public server. So he can't access the private servers, right? You might heard about VPS, right? Virtual private server in Hostinger and everything. Similarly, in AWS, we see it as VPC, okay? Now let's discuss this in the broader picture. Imagine this is a world, or I can say as a complete globe. From India, I need to access nearby AWS data centers, okay? Imagine this is our India. In this India, I have the nearby regions, okay? One is called as Mumbai region, and another one I have a Hyderabad region. Okay, so either I can access any of the one region, okay, but I can host or deploy my application on that AWS server. Okay, let's say I will choose the Mumbai region. Okay, so let's say this is nothing but our Mumbai region. Fine, in this Mumbai region there is something called VPC, guys. Okay, virtual private cloud. So VPC has two things. One is called as public subnet and another one is called as private subnet. Let's say this is my public subnet. There is another subnet. I can call it as private subnet. In this public subnet, I might have lot of servers, right? Imagine this is your server, okay? Server 1 and server 2. And here also you might have all the multiple servers, okay? Servers are nothing but instances which we already discussed, right? So you are building an application. Let's say for building these applications, you might have a lot of components, right? So like front end, you might have back end. So you might have database, right? I just only want to provide the internet access for my front end and back end. XYZ person can access only my front end and back end. I don't want him to access my database. I want to keep my database secure. I want to keep my database as a private. I don't want XYZ person to access my database. Whatever the front end we have, I need to expose to the internet, right? So that the XYZ person can access my front end. So what we can do is we can deploy this front end component inside the server of public subnet. Okay. So also this backend, whatever we have the component, we can deploy on server inside the public subnet. Okay. Same thing. Okay. This is your front end and this is your backend. So whatever the database, I don't want to create another server inside the public subnet. I don't want to deploy here because I don't want it to be exposed to internet. I want to make it secure. I want to keep this database secure. So what I will do, whatever the database I have, I will put this database here in the private subnet, okay, so that it has to be secure. It should not have the internet access. Only this public subnet has the internet access, guys. Okay, this thing we called as internet gateway. Okay, so whatever the traffic comes to this internet to my server, right? So there is something called RT, we call it as route table. This route table ensures what kind of traffic I am getting. Okay, so it will check, okay, I am getting this traffic from the internet, so I need to redirect it to the public subnet instead of private subnet. It won't allow to interact with private subnet. Okay, let's discuss this complete thing in our AWS. Okay, so as you can see, this AWS has VPC, right? So in this VPC you can see two kinds of subnet, right? So one is public subnet and another one is private subnet. Okay, so as we know, we have created lot of instances and we have deployed our applications, right, in the previous video. So when we created any instance, defaultly it will create VPC in background. Fine, so here we can create our own VPC. Okay, so let's discuss this part first. So here we have the VPC. In this VPC, as we have already know, we have two kinds of subnets. Okay, so one is public subnet and another one is private subnet. In this subnet we have the servers. Okay, so you can create multiple server as you want. Here also you can create multiple server as you want. Okay, so only this public subnet is exposed to internet. There is one thing called internet gateway, you can say, right? So whatever the traffic coming from outside internet, it will come to internet gateway first. From internet gateway it will go to the routing table. Routing table then decide, okay, this traffic is coming from the internet, so I need to somehow redirect it to public subnet here, right? So this traffic comes from here and it will redirect here. Okay, it won't allow to access this private subnet. Okay, in the private subnet we have the servers where we have stored our databases. So every sensitive information we have stored here. So here the route table will ensure not to provide the access to here. In order to interact within the subnet, we can easily interact, like front end need, for front end we need to interact with back end also, right? This route table helps to interact each other. Okay, this is what we need to build here. Here you need to understand two things. Okay, as you can see here we have the IPs are nothing but unique identifier. As we know, if we take the example of school, so in a particular class we have lot of students. That students may have the same name, right? Redundant name. So how we can identify that particular individual? With the help of USN or register number, right? Each student have the unique USN, right? From the USN I can easily identify, okay, this is the student. Okay, similarly in complete network we have a lot of components, right? So yeah, like front end we have a lot of different servers. How we can identify one particular server? Based on the IP, right? IPs are very unique for each and every component. Here one small correction, this should be 0. Okay, 12.0.0.0/16. As you can see here, this 12.0 is nothing but our network part, and 0.0 what you can see is our host part, or I can say as range part. This network part and host part is decided by CIDR. Okay, so we can discuss this later, but as of now just understand we have the particular unique identity for this VPC. Okay, this is the IP which is for VPC. Okay, now inside this VPC I have the subnets, right? This subnet should also have the unique names. Unique names are nothing but the IPs here. So as you can see here we have 12.0.1.0 here. Here 12.0 is same, right, as the VPC, because 12.0 is the network part. Network part should be similar. Okay, because we are creating this subnet inside this VPC. Okay, if you are creating, see, so this should be same. It should not be like 13.0. So 1.0 is basically for public subnet here, as you can see, and 2.0 is nothing but private subnet here. So 1.0 is nothing but public subnet. Still we need to differentiate these two things, right? We can't keep this same IP for this one also. So this is different, this is different. Inside this, whatever the servers we create here, it should start from 12.0, which is nothing but we are belonging into the same IP, same network. Okay, dot 1 should also be common here. Now here you can give something like 1 or for the server 1. Okay, and something like 12.1.2 for server 2, 12.1.3, 4 till 255 I can go. Now let's create the VPC by our own. For creating the VPC, first thing is create an AWS account. Okay, so we already have login to our AWS, right? We already have the free tier account. We already successfully log into AWS account. So what is the next step? For next step we can see is creating the VPC. So how to create the VPC? In order to create VPC, we need to go to the search bar here and we need to type it as VPC, virtual private load. If we enter, so as you can see, the VPC dashboard has been opened, right? So here I will click on the VPC. As you can see here, there is one thing called create VPC, but here we can notice there is already one VPC which is already created, right? This is the default VPC AWS will provide. Okay, but I won't want to use this VPC. I will click on create VPC here. So once you click on this create VPC, here you can give the name for the VPC. Let's say I will give as test VPC. Okay, so whatever the name you want you can give, and here you need to provide a unique identifier for this VPC, right? I need to give one IP for this. As we discussed, 12.0.0.0 I will write slash I will write as 16. So I have given this unique identifier for my VPC. So anything which we create inside this VPC should start from 12.0. Okay. So rest of them I will leave as it is, and then I will click on create VPC. Once you click on create VPC, as you can see, your VPC has been created. So now let's see what is the next step. We have created this step. We have created our VPC and we have assigned the particular IP. So in this step 3, we can see we need to create the internet gateway inside the VPC. Okay, let's create the internet gateway. So for creating the internet gateway, I am here inside the VPC only. So as in the left side, you can see here internet gateway. I will click on this internet gateway. Anyhow, as we can see here, we have the default internet gateway. By the way, we won't gonna use this. So we can create a new one. So click here to the create internet gateway. Once you click here, you can provide any name. Okay, so let's say as test IG I will write internet gateway. Rest of the things I will leave as it is, and there is a button called create internet gateway. I will click on this. So as you can see, I have successfully created an internet gateway, but you can see the status here detached. Even though if I go one step backwards, as you can see, this is what the internet gateway which we have created. So but the state is in detached, right? We have created the internet gateway but not inside this VPC. Somehow I need to attach this VPC, right? So what we can do is, here I will click on this test internet gateway checkbox here. You can see here in the actions, if you click, there is one thing called attach to VPC. I will click on it. Here I will select my VPC. This is what the VPC we have created, right? Test VPC. Select this test VPC and click on attach internet gateway. Now this internet gateway which you have created, that internet gateway is now inside this created VPC. In this next step, step 4, create a subnets. As we know, the VPC has lot of subnets, right? Like public subnet and private subnet. So let's create the subnet first. Let's create the public subnet first. Here at the left side, you can see subnets. I will click on this subnet. You can see 3 default subnets. Okay, this is defaultly created by AWS. I want to create our own subnet, so I will click on create subnet here. Okay, once you click on create subnet, I want this subnets to be created within our own created VPC, right? So instead of this is the default one, I won't gonna use this. This is what we have created, right? I will select this one. Okay, here we need to provide the complete information about the subnet which we are going to create. So first, let's say, so I want to create the public subnet first. So public subnet I will write. Okay, here I need to choose the availability zones. Okay, availability zones are nothing but which provide the high availability for our secure servers. Okay, I need to choose a availability zones here. Okay, as you can see here, I am in the Mumbai region. Mumbai region has 3 availability zones. Fine, I will select any one here. Okay, this ensures highly availability for your server. I will talk about the complete detail on auto scaling and auto load balancing. There you will understand more on availability zone. Fine, as of now I will select one availability zone here. Okay, 1A. Here I need to provide the unique identification for my public subnet. Here I need to provide like 12.0. 12.0 means I want to create this subnet inside the VPC, right? VPC already have the fixed IP range, right? 12.0 dot 1.0 I will write slash 24. Okay, 1.0 is nothing but public subnet. Okay, so next I will leave rest of the things as it is. One public subnet we have successfully created. Now I need to create private subnet, right? For private subnet, I can click on add new subnet here. Now let's write as private subnet. Here I will choose one availability zone as of now. Now here I will assign one IP for my private subnet. Okay, let's say 12.0.2.0 slash 24. Okay, this IP is basically assigned to our private subnet. So now finally I will click on create subnet. So successfully we have created 2 subnets inside our VPC. Okay, so this is what test VPC, right? So we have 2 subnets now. Now let's see what is our next step. Next step is to create a route table. Route table we already discussed. Route table decide, okay, what kind of IP need to send which kind of subnet. Okay, any traffic coming from the internet, it will redirect it to our public subnet. So it won't allow for our private subnet. I want to expose servers of public subnet to the internet. I don't want to expose all the servers which are there in the private subnet, right? For creating the route table, I will go to the dashboard here. I will click on route table here. Okay, once you click on route table, this is the default route table which is provided by AWS. I want to create my own. I won't want to use this. Click on create route table. So you can give any route table name. Okay, let's say as I want to create a route table for my public subnet first. So public route table RT I will write. Okay, I want to select the VPC. We have created this VPC as called as test VPC. You can click on create route table. Now you can see we have successfully created the route table for public subnet. Now the main thing, now we have created the route table for public subnet. So I need to attach two things, right? First thing I need to attach is internet gateway to route table and route table to public subnet. So first let's attach our route table to our internet gateway. For that I will click on edit route tables. Here you can see add route, right? I will click on add route and you can give as 0.0.0 here, and here you need to click on internet gateway. So we have created our own internet gateway, right? Test internet gateway. I will select this. For this internet gateway, this is the IP we have given. Okay, so after this, if you click on save, now you can see whatever the internet gateway is there, right? Now it has been successfully connected to our public subnet. Okay, so this is our internet gateway IP. It has been connected to our public subnet. We have covered this part. We have somehow attached this internet gateway to our routing table. Now I need to attach this public route table to our public subnet. For doing that, there is one thing called subnet associate. I will click on this subnet associate and edit subnet associate. Now for this public route table, I will click on public subnet. Okay, so click on this public subnet and you can save the association. Now I have connected my internet gateway to public route table. Now we have also associated this public route table to our public subnet. Now any traffic coming from the internet will redirect to my public subnet. Okay, now it's time to create our private route table. For creating private route table, I will go one step backward. We have the public route table as of now. I want to create another route table for private subnet. So I will click on route table here. Okay, now I will write as private route table RT and I will select our created VPC, test VPC. Rest of the things I will leave as it is and I will click on create route table. So successfully we have created. Here we need not to make connection with our internet gateway because I don't want to expose to the internet. I want to keep all the servers which are created inside this private subnet to be secured, right? So I will go only to the subnet association. I will click on this subnet associate and here edit subnet associate and I will choose as private subnet here and I will click on save associate. Now you can see we have created two subnets. One is public subnet and another one is private subnet. So now let's see what we can create next. Now creating the instance within the VPC. Okay, now let's create the instance now. Okay, for creating the instance we need to go for EC2. We already know EC2 is a service provided by AWS which help us to create the instance and servers, right? Okay, I will go to the inside the VPC. At the left side you can click on the instances. As you can see there is no instance available here. I want to launch our own new instance. For that click on launch instance here. Okay, once you click on launch instance you can provide any name. Okay, let's say I will provide as front end public server. Okay, I have given this name as front-end public server. You can give whatever the name you want. I will choose Ubuntu. Here I will select Ubuntu server 24.04 LTS. Click on confirm changes. Now I will keep this instant type as default, okay, which has 1 GB of RAM and 2 CPUs. I will keep this default. For key pair, you can create your own key pair or you can select your existing key pair. I will show you how to create a new key pair here. Okay, let's say as my new test KP. Okay, key pair. RSA is nothing but an encryption technique here. I will select RSA and I will click on create a key pair. As you can see my key pair has been downloaded here and it has been auto selected. Okay, so now this is the main part, network setting. Okay, in the previous videos when we created any instance we used to keep this as a default, right, and we directly launch our instance. On top of that we basically deploy our applications, right? Now we have created our own VPC. I don't want to use our already existing VPC, right? So for that you need to click on edit here. Here see it's basically taking our default VPC from the AWS which it's provided, right? But I want to select our created VPC. I will click on create VPC here. I need to choose the subnet where that server, whatever the instance we are creating, right, server we are creating, where it has to allocate. As you can see in this diagram, I want to create the front end and back end in this public subnet, not in the private subnet. In the private subnet I want to keep my database because it is not linked with the internet, it is secured. So I just want to expose my servers here to the internet. So I will select public subnet here. By drop down you can ensure like public subnet. Okay, so it should be public subnet. So also auto assign IP you need to click on enable. This ensures to provide the public IP for our respective subnet. Okay, so it should be enabled. So here if you want, if you already have the existing security group which we have already created in the previous video, right, you can select that one or else you can create a new one. Okay, so create a security group. You can give whatever the name you want. I will just give as a public security group. Okay, so here also you can give as a test public you can give any kind of description here. Okay, I have given as test public security group. Here in the inbound security group, if I click on drop down, so basically it has taken SSH default traffic. So I will click here, I will click on all traffic. That means you are allowing all kind of network to access your server what you are creating now inside the public subnet, right? So either it might be HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, any kind of traffic you are allowing. Okay, rest of them things I will keep on default. Okay, 8 GB it has took for storage, and there is a one instance here. Okay, so I want to create only one instance and click on launch instance. So once you click on launch instance, see, successfully I have created the instance or a server inside our public subnet within our created own VPC. Now if I go back to the instance here, okay, you can see here, right, we have created this instance. Okay, front end public server, right? So which is in running stage. If I go inside here, you can see complete details here. As you can see, we have a lot of information here, right? One is private IP and another one is public IP. In the private IP, you can observe here 12.0, which is nothing but our VPC. .1, which is nothing but our public subnet. Inside this, for this server which we have created, it has given as 60. Okay, this is what the creativity which is done by our VPC. Okay, so this is the public subnet. Okay, public subnet is very needful, right, in order to connect with the internet and everything. Now let's connect our server. For connecting our server, you can click on connect. Here we have multiple ways to connect our server. There is SSH, okay, which we already discussed again. So but I directly want to connect from our EC2 instance connect only. So I will click on connect here. Okay, once you click on connect, as you can see, we are successfully launching our Ubuntu server. From the internet, I can able to connect with our server now. Okay, any traffic which is coming from the internet, it's going to our internet gateway. From internet gateway, it's going to our route table. Now route table deciding, okay, this traffic is coming from the internet, I need to redirect it for my public subnet. Okay, in the public subnet, this is what the instance we have. That's the reason you can able to see this complete instance. Okay, similarly, I want to create an instance for the private subnet. Okay, so this is the assessment for you guys. Okay, this is an exercise which you need to do. You just need to go for your instance here. Okay, so just launch an instance here. Okay, ensure in the network settings you are choosing your own created VPC, and in the subnet part you need to ensure you are selecting the private subnet. Okay, and then you can launch the instance. Then if you're trying to connect that instance, you can observe it can't connect because we have kept that as secured, right? Your route table won't redirect to your public subnet which is coming from the traffic. Okay, so if we go back to the diagram, this is what a complete VPS which we have created by our own. I believe you have understand everything. If you have any doubts, you can ping me in the comment section. If you want to study more about the VPC, I have also provided the study materials on GitHub. I have provided in the description. You can go and access the study materials too. Okay, thank you.